Hello United fans, welcome to the United Report, your go-to source for the latest news, match updates and transfer stories straight from Old Trafford. It seems ludicrous to suggest a trip to the Emirates or Anfield could be an easier assignment than a home clash against a so-called smaller team. Yet when character is an issue in your side, maybe it's not so far-fetched a suggestion. Manchester United did something only 6 teams have managed this season when they stopped Liverpool taking all 3 points in the recent Premier League clash at Anfield. They then dug in and managed to take their FA Cup tie with Arsenal to penalties, despite playing more than an hour with 10 men following Diogo Dalot's expulsion. If a side can do that, having been battered by Newcastle in a 2-0 defeat that could easily have seen the visitors score 4 or 5 by half-time, a result that came just days after being beaten by relegation strugglers Wolves, something must be wrong. Bruno Fernandes suggested as much following the draw at Liverpool, telling Sky Sports, "Obviously, I think it's a really good result, and we could have won the game in the end, but I think it's a fair result. Both teams played really good, and it was intense football. There were chances for both sides, but we can't be satisfied. And I'm pretty upset because if we showed this today against Liverpool, who are first in the league, at Anfield, so they are probably the outstanding team in the league this season, why can't we do this every week? Off days are part and parcel of sport, and no team can be at their best 100% of the time. But the United captain makes a very fair point when they've been so frequent for so long. United's last 2 games have seen them afforded rare midweeks off, with a 6-day gap between the Newcastle and Liverpool games and a 7-day break between the Liverpool and Arsenal matches. The schedule gave Ruben Amorim precious time on the training ground with his squad, the first time he's been afforded such a luxury since his appointment in early November. So were the improved displays at Anfield a result of extra training and time to gel on the Carrington training pitches? Or is this simply a United squad that is prepared to turn up for the big occasions, yet goes missing against teams they should be beating? After a slow start to life in England, Manuel Ugarte is starting to find his feet in a Manchester United shirt. Fresh from producing a very eye-catching performance against Liverpool at Anfield, the Uruguay international delivered another dogged showing against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium in the FA Cup on Sunday afternoon. For the second game running, he started alongside Kobbie Mainoo in the centre of midfield, tasked with stifling the home side and giving United as much grit and determination as possible. The 23-year-old is quickly establishing himself as the midfield battering ram United have been lacking. He was not as destructive as he was against Liverpool, highlighted by his tackle count stopping at 2, but he was just as determined to roll up his sleeves and leave everything on the pitch, and that was reflected in the former Paris Saint-Germain midfielder's post-match social media message. Reacting to the game, he posted on Instagram, "When we have the ball, it's a game, and when we don't, it's a fight. Let's keep it going, always together." Ugarte's social media message, specifically the reference to the need to fight, is the sort of thing United supporters have been longing for from members of the squad. United have regularly been criticised for displaying a poor mentality in recent years, but their last 2 performances have suggested Ruben Amorim is in the process of fixing that problem. Ugarte has been a big part of that fix, being signed in the summer to offer United the aggression they have lacked in midfield for far too long. He thrives on winning the ball back and doing the dirty side of the game. Ugarte was actually Erik Ten Hag's third-choice midfield signing, and despite struggling to force his way into Ten Hag's plans after his arrival from PSG at the end of August, the midfielder was informed by the former United manager that he would help United with their fight in a video that was released by the club, showing behind-the-scenes footage of Ugarte being given a tour of the training ground after joining United. Ten Hag and Ugarte approached a wall within the training ground complex that had "Unite and Fight" written on it. Ten Hag pointed to the word "fight" on the wall and told Ugarte, "This guy brings us the fight." Ugarte was initially confused as to what Ten Hag was referring to, asking who. Once he understood the point Ten Hag was making, Ugarte said, "It is normal for me to fight. It's normal." Based on his recent showings, which have been much improved since being reunited with Amorim, with whom he worked with at Sporting Lisbon, Ugarte has regularly demonstrated that fighting spirit, frequently being an aggressor in midfield. Ugarte is developing a strong midfield relationship with Mainu, offering United fans encouragement that their midfield woes may finally be solved with what could be a long-term solution. Ugarte is the disciplinarian United have lacked in the middle. Barcelona have been given just over 24 hours to decide whether or not they want to sign Marcus Rashford. The Manchester United forward stated last month that he's ready for a new challenge, prompting a host of clubs to register their interest. Rashford, 27, hasn't played for United since December 14th, with new manager Ruben Amorim leaving him out of the matchday squad for 6 of their last 7 matches. AC Milan are currently viewed the frontrunners after holding talks with Rashford's representatives in Italy last week. The Serie A giants are also set to offload striker Noah Okafor to RB Leipzig, freeing up space in their squad. But Barcelona could be about to throw a spanner in the works. Manager Hansi Flick has told his bosses that he wants to sign Rashford in order to bolster his forward line. Catalan outlet Sport claimed that Flick wanted to sign the England international while he was at Bayern Munich, although there's concern that he might not get his wish again. Barca chiefs have pointed out Rashford's inconsistency and whether he's the right fit for their attack. Barcelona already have a number of wide forwards, including Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Ferran Torres, and Ansu Fati. Rashford can also play through the middle, although Torres and youngster Pau Victor have shared the role of deputising for Robert Lewandowski so far this season. Given that Barca's board are undecided, Rashford wants to know their intentions by Wednesday, January 15th. The transfer window doesn't close until February 3rd, but both Rashford and United are keen to come to a resolution over his uncertain future as soon as possible. An issue for Barcelona to contend with is that in order to register any new player in their squad, they'll need to offload someone. Defender Ronald Araujo has been heavily linked with a move to Juventus, although an injury to fellow centre-back Inigo Martinez could scupper his plans to leave. Youngster Diego Leon has completed his move to Manchester United. Leon, 17, completed a medical to finalise his move from Paraguay side Cerro Porteño on Monday, and the defender signed a 5-year contract, with the option of an additional year. It's understood United agreed a £3.3 million fee, rising to £7 million with add-ons, with Cerro Porteño and Leon will start playing for the club in July 2025. United believe Leon, who is a natural left-back, possesses first-team potential, but he will need time to develop and settle in Manchester. Leon was given a tour of Carrington and Old Trafford following his United medical, and was pictured with Lisandro Martinez and Alejandro Garnacho in the training ground canteen. He was also pictured with Manchester City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne, who he bumped into after completing his medical tests and examinations at a private healthcare company. United could look to explore more deals in the South American market in the next few years, and Leon is the latest young recruit in Ineos' search for talented but raw prospects. Sekou Kone, who is 18 years old, signed from Malian club Gaidars FC last August, and sources have reiterated he will need time to get to grips with the demands of English football. Kone has made just one start for the under-21s this season, and he picked up a small issue in that game against Huddersfield Town in November, in which he lasted 40 minutes. Leon and Kone are both seen as high-potential young players who should progress to the first team. United have arranged a pre-contract agreement with the 17-year-old, and his transfer will consequently be lower key than a senior player arrival, but Leon will still get the opportunity to meet staff and will be given a tour of the facilities at Carrington during his trip to Manchester. It's understood technical director Jason Wilcox has played a key role in the deal to sign Leon, and United could look to explore more deals in the South American market in the next few years. Leon is a natural left-back, which has become a problem position for United in the last 2 seasons due to Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia being unavailable for large periods of time. United are still expected to sign a senior left-back in the summer because Leon is a young talent. The youngster will need time to develop, and so patience will be needed while he settles in England. Sekou Kone, who is 18 years old, signed from Malian club Gaidars FC last August, and sources have reiterated he will need time to get to grips with the demands of English football. Kone has made just one start for the under-21s this season, and he picked up a small issue in that game against Huddersfield Town in November, in which he lasted 40 minutes. Leon and Cone are both seen as high-potential young players who should progress to the first team. One man took all the praise amongst Manchester Evening News readers as Manchester United dumped Arsenal out of the FA Cup on Sunday. Ruben Amorim's side ended up securing a dramatic penalty shootout win, despite the game being marred by refereeing decisions, and supporters in our comments section reckon that Harry Maguire has done enough to warrant sticking around during the manager's rebuild, following his performance in the game. Maguire has answered manager Ruben Amorim's call to step up and be a Manchester United leader with some great defensive performances of late. A controversial penalty call by referee Andy Madley saw him left fuming at Arsenal's Kai Havertz, but United were kept in the game thanks to one of several vital saves by Altay Bayindir. Centre-back Maguire had been lower down in the pecking order in United's defensive department in recent seasons under Erik ten Hag, enduring a tough time and fierce criticism over his form. Since rejecting the possibility of a transfer out of the team and pledging to fight for his place in the team, his stock has begun to rise again. Fans are delighted with some of his recent showings in tough fixtures. Reader Garth123 writes, "I always have said, Harry Maguire suits the Amorim system far better than the old 4-3-3. In the Amorim system, he acts as the anchor centre-back, whereby pace isn't essential, but height is. Harry alongside De Ligt are forming a formidable partnership, and along with Lisandro Martinez, it's a platform to build upon." Commenter Nick in France says, "Lots of fans seem to diss Maguire, but the reality is, he's been our best defender this season. Another immense performance today. Not spectacular last-minute tackles, but commanding the penalty box, so they aren't needed." Otago85 writes, "Well, so far, Harry Maguire, like Chris Woods, has reinvented himself. An outstanding performance again. He really needs to stay. Red Scott agrees. I think we may see a different Maguire under Amorim. The system suits him. A great game today by H. Roger C1 says, great spirited performance. Great defending by goalkeeper Maguire and De Ligt. Maguire in particular deserves great praise. He was jeered and mocked last year. To come back like he has shows huge character. 2 great results. Ben 123456 can still see old complaints being repeated in the future. Maguire is a great defender when we are looking to defend deep and force the opposition wide and into crossing the ball where he can use his aerial strength. However, if this team is to progress to challenging for and winning league titles, then the team needs to play more on the front foot and have a defence that can push up the pitch. In this scenario, Maguire becomes a liability again, because very simply, he has no pace and gets caught out by pacey forwards if we play a high line. Can't fault his attitude and application, and like Keane talks about a lot, he is an example of decent professional in the dressing room. It's all about if he wants to be a squad player.